Alright, this is Whole Building Design, the Integrated Design Process course. Whole Building Design by Down Prowler, FAIA, Down Prowler, and Associated Revised Updated Stefani, Vera, Associate EI, LEED, APBD plus C, Vera Design Education Service Limited Liability Company. All right, the role of building and case for the whole building design. Buildings are designed complex, are deceptively complex. At their best, they connect us with the past and represent great legacies of the future. Provide shelter, encourage productivity, embody with or culture. Certainly play an important part in life. In fact, the role of buildings constantly changes with the building today. Are support system, communication, data terminals, center of education, justice, and community, and so much more. They are incredibly expensive to build, maintain, must constantly be adjusted to function effectively over the life cycle. The economics has become complex as it designs. Data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration illustrates buildings are responsible for almost 48% of all greenhouse gas emissions annually. 76% of the electrically generated U.S. power plants goes to supply the building sector. Always building often contributed with a health problem such as asthma, allergies due to poor indoor environmental quality. Safety is also paramount in the building's securely related expenditures, one of the fastest raising experiences. The federal government has reported these challenges as putting them into executive order and mandates. The federal government has responded to these challenges in putting in executive orders and mandates. High performance in buildings were defined as an Energy Policy Act of 2005, Public Law 109058. Buildings are integrated with the optimize all major high performance building attributes, include energy efficiency, durability, life cycle of the performance, occupational productivity. Energy Independent Security Act, your EISI or ESA of Engineering Independency Security Act of 2007 further established a new aggressive plan for achieving energy independence or national building cycle over the year of 2030. That requires the federal buildings new renovations achieving fossil fuel guaranteed energy consumption reductions due on the order of 55% of the year 2010 and 100% in the year 2030. The Act also requires sustainable design principles to apply with the siting, design, and construction. It's often noted that the Act defines high-performance buildings as integrating optimization lifecycle basis. All major high-performance attributes include the energy conservation, environmental safety, security, durability, accessibility, cost, benefit, productivity, sustainability, function, and operational considerations. These issues are synonymous with the whole building design. Other private sector programs such as the USGBC LEED trademark rating system defines standard of the measure of the sustainable buildings. Also, Building Security Council Building Rating System, or BSC. Certification of the professionals have been created with the help of measure for the benchmark security in the building. Private sector's industries have also responded with creating more products and systems that have multiple benefits for the knowledge of the material system exists are readily available to make the positive impact environment with the quality of the life of the building occupants. Whole building design encompasses all of these issues, programs, and an essential way of approaching building projects. Understanding whole building concept, building design concept will engage you and enable you to think and practice with integrate fashions to meet the demands of today as well as tomorrow's high performance building projects. The philosophy and the components of whole building design and the concept of wholes is not new. The 1926 Jan Christian Smuts, a South African prime minister philosopher, coined the term Haslam, believed that there are no individual parts in nature, only patterns and arrangements that contribute into the whole. The Buckminster Fuller also said back in 1969 while working on the space program, synergy is the only word or language that means the behavior of a whole system unpredicted by separately observed behaviors of the system parts and subassemblies of the system subsystems of systems parts. Whole building design draws upon the concept of the synergies. Interconnectedness consists of two components: integrated design approach and integrated team process. Um, Integrated design approach also acts all members of the building stakeholder community and the technical planning, design, construction team to look at project object of the building material systems and assembly from many different perspectives. Pause. Alright, the integrated design approach asks all the members of the stakeholder community, technical drawing, design, construction team to look at project activities, building materials, systems, assemblies from many different perspectives of the approach. If a deviation from typical planning of the design process rely on the expertise specialists who work respectively, especially somewhat isolated each other. Alright, whole building design as a practice also requires an integrated team process in which the design team and the affected stakeholders work together throughout the project phase to evaluate design cost, quality of life, future flexibility, efficiency, overall environmental impact, productivity, creativity, and how occupants are lived. The whole building design process draws the knowledge pool with all the stakeholders across the life cycle of the project to define the need of the building through the planning, design, construction, building, occupancy, and operation. And the integrated design approach. Each design objectivity significantly impact any of the project. A truly successful ones where the goals are identified early on and held with the proper balance during the design process, where there are interrelationships, interdependencies of the building systems understood, evaluated, approved, and applied with the coordinated concurrently with the planning and the program phase. High performance cannot be achieved unless the integrated approach is employed. Design objectives in the whole building design. In buildings achieve a successfully holistic project, these design objectives consider the concert and balance with each other. Question from the post test. Which design objectives pertain to the select building elements of the basic life cycle costs as well as base cost estimating budget control? Aesthetics, accessibility, cost effectiveness, sustainability. Alright, pertaining to building heights and clearances implemented to address and specify for the disabled people. Aesthetics pertains to physical appearance, image of the building elements, and as well as the integrated design process. Cost effectiveness pertains to selected building elements in the basic life cycle with weighing out opinions during conflict with design development, value engineering, best cost estimate, and budget control. And we're going to look at sustainability pertains to environmental performance for the elements and strategies. We're going to go with life cycle costs as well as basic cost estimating, and that would be C, cost effective on the post effectiveness. Now we'll reread the accessibility pertaining to the building elements, heights, and with the clearance implemented with address the specific need of disabled people. Aesthetics pertain to the physical appearance, image of the building elements and space as well for the integrated design process. Cost effective pertains to selecting building elements of the basic life cycle cost of the weighing option for during the concept of design development, the value of the engineering as well as the basic cost estimating, budget control. Functional operational pertain to the functional programming, spatial needs, the requirement, system performance for the durability, efficiency, maintenance of the building elements. Historical preservation means to specify action for the historical district affecting the historical building, whereby building elements and strategies are classified into one or four approaches: preservation, rehabilitation, restoration, reconstruction. Productivity means the providing pertinent to occupants' well-being, physical, psychological comfort, include building elements of the distributing, lighting, workspaces, systems, and technology. Secure and safe pertains to the physical protection of the occupants and assist of the man-made and the natural hazards. Sustainability pertains to environmental performance building element strategy. When building design provides strategy to achieve the high building, one of the cost effective of the entire life cycle, safe, secure, with accessible, flexible, aesthetic product, and sustainability. Through systemic and analytic with an interdependence leverage of the whole building strategy to achieve the multiple benefits much more with efficiency, the cost effective of the building can be produced. For example, the choice of the mechanical system might impact the quality of the building, the ease of the maintenance of the global climate change, the operational cost of the fuel choice of the waste windows of the building are operable. In turn, the size of the mechanical system will depend on one of the factors: type of the lighting, control you, the nature of the daylight brought in, and how space is organized with the facility operating hour of the local microclimate. At the same time, the same material the system choices may have the impact of the aesthetic, accessibility, security of the project. Successful whole building design and solution is greater than the sum of all its parts. And mechanical system, the fuel choice Question number 4. Mechanical system impacts the quality of the air building and the ease of maintenance. Climate change, operational cost, fuel choice, weather windows of the building are an example of. One, system of functional problems. System of balanced aesthetic and historic preservation. A design chariot, a system that provides multiple benefits. We're going to go with system that provides benefits. Next question is to determine effectiveness of the whole building design solution for the following are recommended. Integrated team process. To create successful high-performance building, an interactive approach of the design process is also required that many of the stakeholders, that everyone involved with the planning, design, the the construction, operation, many of the facility must fully understand the issue for the turn and all of the other parties that interact closely throughout all of the phases of the project. Who needs to be at the table for the outset of the project with the ensure that the integrated with the team process. Each project is unique, will require the team and the expertise to be matched with the goals project with these may include, but is not limited to architecture, landscape, architecture, owner, client, with the tenants and engineers, program, interior designers, contractor specialists for the security, telecom, acoustics, LEED, AP, community members of other stakeholders, operation, maintenance personnel, the other such for the real estate power of the C, engaged with the integrated design process. The design chariot focuses the collaborative with the transforming session held beginning of the project. Encourage exchange of the idea of the information, allow for the truly integrated design solution to take form. Team members and all stakeholders encourage to cross-fertilize with the address of the problems beyond with the field with the expertise. The Charlotte is particularly helpful in the complex situations where there may be to represent the interest of the client with the conflicting need of the consistencies. Participants is educated about the issue of the resolution enables them to buy into the schematic solution. Final solution isn't necessarily produced. The important other independent issues are explored. See planning conducting integrated with the design chariots. It's not enough to design with a holistic manner, but it also is important to determine the measure of effectiveness outcome integrated design solution over the design life cycle with the consider of the facility performance and evaluation enforced. Sure that the high performance goals have been met, but will continue to meet over the life cycle with the project. Consider retro commissioning to ensure the building will continue to optimally perform through the conditional adjustments. See building commission for the commission document compliance and acceptance. Alright, emerging issues. As the whole building continues with the chain with the growth, with complexity, additional programs, information impact with the entire design with the planning of the construction community. Among the building information model software with the continually trend with the computer-aided design, many buildings that have been built directly with electronic modules of the building information modeling. And some of the architects no longer create drawings, but instead build buildings inside of their computers by building information modeling has the potential change of the role drawing of the construction process. Role of the drawings of the construction process improve the agricultural productivity, making sure easier. Consider evaluated design objectives. Alternative to the basic building information modeling is in the process of integrated with the various design teamwork further engage. Encourage demanding and integrated team process. High-performance buildings are energy efficient, have limited environmental impact, operate with the lowest possible life cycle costs. There are a number of additional ways the tools have with each of the high-performance buildings, such as the life cost analysis, integrated design process, integrated environmental energy solutions for building envelope and building commission. That was part 1. Alright, part 2, engaging integrated with the process. Overview of the broad obligations, opportunity of the architect were summarized and by ancient Romans By ancient Romans, the architect virtue of the description of the buildings provide with the commodity of the firmness, with the delight, with the commonality address, with the spatial, with the functional utility of the building, firmness address of the building's ability to resist natural forces, starting with gravity, delineate the relights with the sensory associated pleasure buildings can provide with their meaning. When the forms of agriculture were limited by material, the construction method, the aesthetic principles were narrowly defined with the successors virtue of viewis. Modern era, many more forms are possible. Selection of the invention of the forms such can give the more wider range of the meaning. Choosing traditional forms, of course, are possible. Can follow with the violate with the process of the meaning of the style of the architecture, which include with the Roman classicism. Selection of such styles shows with an intention for the continuity of lifestyle in buildings or periods. Selected with the misinterpretation of the principles can be seen with the exercising bad taste. Modern architectural proposed with a break with the stylistic tradition invented that have become new ones with some derived with the precedent movements like Bauhaus. Others of the work influential architects with Frank Lloyd Wright with the I.E. composers Mies van der Rohe and Rowe. Others found possibilities in vernacular architecture construction methods, abstract new forms. Selection specifies selection of specific forms conveys many meaning to U.S. whatever choice is made. A glass building can, for example, mean transparency, honesty, while a big building means privacy and concealment. Tall buildings have always been an expression of the popular, powerful, colorful buildings can mean alleviate whimsy. Building activity can be shown with a concealed and can means with the building operative-like structure of the mechanical system. New developments, architectural tools, including the sustainability design, emergence of the building science of the building information modeling, all lead to the new insight with the design construction process. Aesthetics often revisited necessity, origin, invention, scarcity can also inspire with lack of quality. Large timbers for framing, coupled with rising costs with steel and concrete, with the new product and techniques developed around laminating timbers for the give of the large platters of the cross-laminated timber framing system is known as increased with both popularity acceptance as alternative to the traditional method of the construction. Impact of the aesthetics can be seen. Large expensive planes of wood layers for that hat convey strength and delight. Today's variety of expressions can be seen with these four example federal building projects. You have the Air Force Academy Cadet Chapel, the Jose Toledo U.S. Post Office Courthouse, Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. National Ocean Atmospheric Administration Satellite Operation Facility in Sutton, Maryland, and Howard D. Malzahn U.S. Courthouse, Cleveland, Ohio. Contemporary culture advocates diversity and style, but even in the case of historical preservation, also encourages the development of the new architectural language that respond with the openness of the designers. They agree with the achieved aesthetically successful architecture comes with the integrated approach by carefully formulating project purposes, seeking inspiration, project requirements, engaging with the team-wide design, and the architect must effectively arrives at the solution that is delightful, cost-effective, secure, safe, sustainable, accessible, functional, operational, and much of the contemporary architecture with the notion the expressive the exterior become tempered by new materials such as high-performing glass and conveys literal the openingness age of the digital communication via the internet, alternative roofing technology extended to the livability area of the top buildings, finding green space. They can hold stormwater and other new amenities. Returning the virtuous, one can conclude that the three standards of architecture reinforce on one another. The good architecture achieve the useful, humane, and economical result of the building, expand with the qualities, regardless of the style. Fully integrated building promises durable way of the virtue may not have been envisioned and inspired with the community to find ways that even when the original program is no longer relevant. With the eye and integration, architectural makes the aesthetic decision and follow collaboration with the client and building users, other consultants, and public. Therefore, important client with the building as well, that informed with the possibility architecture can assist with the design team and the conveying of the building of the meets the most needs. One way of becoming acquainted with the possibility architectural commission is to say with the number of buildings and the same and the type of the addition. This branch of the whole building design guide will help the not familiar architectural design terminology understand the basic process techniques language for the architectural concepts becomes reality. Understanding language and elements of the design, architectural and specific technology that describe the fundamental elements of the building and set for the design quality client, fluency with the vocabulary, improve the architectural application elements that it represents. Engage integrated design process for the integrated design process interrelation with the multiple disciplines of the informed building on a series of steps that provide the orderly flow to the dialogue with the full, the constructive, the participation members of the design delivery team will ensure the best results. design award programs, professional societies, federal government, with the industrial trade associations, other than additional insights for the aesthetic values given in the time of the history. For more information, see the design awards. And emerging issues of the building information model, of the building energy model, building scientific, building physics, life cost analysis, life cost assessment, sustainability, high performance building security measurements. Additional resources: Federal Agency, Department of Defense, U.S. Army, General Service Administration, organization, and associations. The work, building, and the professional impact of the aesthetically decisions, the architectural landscape, the architect of the interior design, lighting designer, and engineer with the help to define the building, professional aesthetic responsibility. Each of the professions represented with the National Trade Association, most gave the Trade Association organization, published industrial guidelines about legal, ethical, aesthetic role, members of the building design. We have architects and association, landscape architects, interior design, light designer, professional engineer, planners, others, and publications, and sample grades applications. Part 3, Planning, Conducting, Integrated Design, Charlotte. Introduction: Profit, critical side of the balance of design, key step of the design profit, integrated design, Charlotte. Within the resource page for the Charlotte is defined with an extensive workshop with various stakeholders, experts brought together with success with a particular design issue. From a single building to an entire campus, the installation approach with the term can be applied with a shorter, focused project with team meetings, focused project planning, brainstorming, such extent with community vision, essence. Charlotte can be a mechanism that serves the commission process with along with a project team building, members building, or campus of the user project with the management staff with the importance of the role of the decision makers attend. With furthermore, Charlotte can be viewed with a creative burst or energy, builds a momentum with a project for a project that's on course to meet the project goal, to transform the project with a complex problem to successful buildable plan with usually with intensely focused with a multiple day session with a collaborative approach with a creative, realistic, achievable design to respond to successfully issues at hand. She'll participate in Charlotte work groups to discuss the project environmental priorities of the LED green building rating system. Charlotte with the turf with the new office building. Charlotte working groups roundtable with a large meeting room with a non-flippable type chart page of the tapped over the wall. San Francisco Maritime National Historic Green, Charlotte. Charlotte's had been with the planning design team for many years, approximately 15 years ago. Sustainable issue with we're at the topic to emphasize with the designing Charlotte session with a high visibility successful Charlotte's held with the early 1990s with the Green and White House meeting, greening in the Grand Canyon with the greening of the Pentagon, focused attention with you for the Charlotte with the part of the integrated design process with a focus accessibility, sustainability nowadays with the numerous federal, state, with the local government agencies with the military-based installation of nonprofit, the private sector owners with the Charlotte profit integrated with the whole building design issues as well, specifically focuses sustainability security. For more information, whole building approach to the whole building design guide, and experience with conducting Charlottes with the growth of the lessons learned with the have been given with a handbook to assist the other planning and conducting these events. A handbook of planning good conducting Charlottes with a high performance project with contained with a detailed checklist along with a step-by-step process of planning, implementing, following up Charlotte with the process summary of the resource page. A description of the purpose of the benefit of the integrated with the design Charlottes with the integrated with the whole building Charlottes established with the creative environmental identified with the incorporating strategy of the result of the project. They're designed with a built, minimize with the resource consumption, reduced life cycle cost, with maximum health, environmental performance cost with a wide range of measures for indoor air quality, habitat protection, but they will also mean exemption from security, accessibility, aesthetic, and historic preservation, and other design objectivities. There are many benefits used with the Charlotte early design process, but the most importantly, Charlotte's can save the time and the money, improve the project performance, generally integrated design, and Charlotte's provide a form of the plan project for those can influence the design decision to make sure that the early decision avoid missteps. Easier set up, of course, and changes to provide opportunity for the lessons learned with the previous project for the inform of the planning process. Kick off the design process, encourage the agreement over the project goal, at the same time and the money with the collaborating idea of the issue with concern with the yearly decision process to help avoid later with the design activities, promote with collective enthusiasm, project with a realistic goals and decision. Conducting an ID Charlotte early with the design and decision-making process. Establish a multidisciplinary team that could have agree upon the common project building goals and see with the whole building design guideline disciplines with the information with the roles responsible each for the design discipline and the whole building design process. Develop early consensus of the project design priorities during the early exemption with a qualified metric for the energy environmental outcome. Provide early hours understanding with the project impact with various design strategies. Initiate with the design process to reduce the project costs and schedule the team with the best energy environment environmental performance, identify with the project strategy for the exploration, associated cost of time constraint, and the need expertise to eliminate the cost of surprise later in the design construction process, identify with the partners, available grants, potential collaboration, provide with expertise, vulnerability, credibility, support with the project set, with the project scale, with the budget, with the meet all of the team members for the comfortable in the following. Conducting the regular follow-up with the feedback with the project progress for the ID. Charlotte can ensure that the team continue with the work together with the toward attaining with the shared goals, provide opportunity for the discussion with the more specific alternatives, ensure that continually involved with the initial core participants. The key issue for the planning with the implement with the ID Charlotte. Before beginning with the organizing the Charlotte, you must clear with about the goals of the event, what you want to happen, achieve with the expectations, clear with the consensus of the project goals, identification realistic strategy with the design of the project, consensus with the time frame, the champions associated with the goal, to identify with the potential partners and funding sources for the project, to share the information and lessons learned from the experts. Other goals and clear with the should ask frequent questions, make sure the Charlotte will be most effective. If you can answer these questions, yes, you are ready to proceed for the building and the project for a building. The project program developed the whole building design and architectural programming. Do you know the functions are to be formed, need occupants, special requirements, and it has to be selected with a narrowed a few possibilities. Best to hold the Charlotte during project planning cycle with the possible ones if the project team is in place. For large-scale projects for the camp, the military base, for the other developments issue with the drift, the Charlotte well-defined. These issues could include overall master planning, transportation, facility construction and renovation, operation, maintenance, procurement, contracting, education, and outreach. Out of the staff, volunteers, resources to support an event, and the original organizing facilitators lead the effort. The best effective efficiency planning with the Charlotte include the following activities scheduled with the process for the outline below. With the design with the Charlotte include the outside stakeholders, partners, expertise as well with the project team, and a smaller Charlotte with the project team only would require less for the process to be simpler. At least 3 months before the event, create a steering committee. The first step of the planning with the committing and planning or organizing Charlotte is setting with the steering committee with the purposes of the steering committee is guide the Charlotte planning process to ensure that the support with a key individual organization discussing Charlotte the object of the logistical issue for the travel with enthusiastic, dedicated people will stimulate with the generation with the ideas to make the Charlotte more successful event with a small group of 5 to 8 individuals working closely together to enhance the efficiency of the Charlotte planning process. Generally, everyone who is involved in making the Charlotte happen, include with the logistics support, which should include hold up the kickoff meeting for the kickoff meeting, steering with the committee to begin with the shaping the event with each end of the committee kickoff meeting of the review with the Charlotte purpose of the goal being addressed, fun with the general terms during the initial kickoff meeting with a more detailed subsequent meeting, the date and location of the Charlotte, the purpose of the Charlotte product resulting from the Charlotte, agenda for the Charlotte, the reach over the need to help cover the defray, the cost for the Charlotte, participating, inviting the Charlotte speaker to provide with the desired motivation, expertise during the Charlotte, facility to leave with the Charlotte and for the breakout groups, and the partner supply with the resource or by Charlotte prospect as a result of the project information Charlotte participant, date and time logistics next steering committee meeting. Show the Charlotte work groups participating in the facility to capture idea with the flip chart with the Charlotte with the University of North Carolina Science Building. 2 to 3 months before the event, with the development and agenda, the agenda should include the welcome the introductions, opportunity with the VIP, with the welcome and the group, with the safe stop board, with the goals overview, with the project, with the goal, with the chart, with the presentation, with the expertise, with the support, with the work to be done, with the facilitated small groups. With carefully crafted report out sessions. Confirm availability of the key event partners, key player with the include with the cover overall facilitator for the event with the facilitator, small working group, the VIP lens, credibility support the event with expertise with the show with the brief of the work group with the brief, the presentation of the whole group and the more critical participants. Find speaker list and provide presentation guideline. But give the speaker with the clear guidance, with the include with the link, with the talk of the purpose, level, and with the intent, with the content, with the plan enough time so that you can review with the draft of each specific speaker's presentation prior to the trial to ensure that each talk is on target and can be done time allotted. And invite participants for the track. Respond with the participants should include with the project team of the building, the camp, you for the other stakeholder, the partner for the other specific people, the organization related with the project. Include with the responsibility security assessment and with the aesthetic historic preservation for applicable with the other concern with the invite decision maker with the industry with the commitment with the action with during the Charlotte with the group of 25 to 50. Ideal more than 50 unwieldy for fewer than 25 reduce the number of the work groups that can be established, save with the date. Card to potential participants, assume the date chosen with the 10 of the individuals within the agenda with the other logistics. And our final, consider the developing, sending with a preliminary questionnaire, completion with the submission with the chart with the primary question, and cover with the time, consuming the issue with the line, with the more time with the focus with the critical issue with identified with the questionnaire during the actual Charlotte. Finalizing budget for the budget can include mailings, flyers, emails, invitation letters, Charlotte material for the production, redesign, engineering, analysis, speaker to facility time and travel, starting and support over the event, with including photograph of the writers, facility rental, food, audio, visual equipment, and interconnection with the internet connection at the facility, optional final show, report and follow up participants. Funding of the participant Charlotte should include with the contractor's budget, if possible. Make logistic arrangements. Logistic arrangements will include with the facility of the event, with the food staff, with the equipment, the supply, with the sign, with the name, with the badge, with the exhibit. Local greenhouse building design optional. Assembly participation resource material. The material of the participant package shown identified with the collective of the assembly distribution material should include agenda participation list with copy of the presentation should give information pertaining to the resource material of the resource material of the benefit of the participation during the Charlotte should be identified with the material that could include books, computer programs, or project site with the material with the aerial photograph of the topographical plan with the hydrology drawings. Wind roses, existing vegetation steering with the members of the determined those resources would be available to participating during the Charlotte. Develop evaluation form of the Charlotte feedback essential to determine the feedback needed with the help of the project and similar future effort to create the form of the good given them participant in Charlotte. Usually one page front and back should be adequate to leave the room at the end of the open feedback. Alright, 1. To be most effective and efficient with conducting Charlotte, include the following activities day before the event, visit the facility, before the event, double click everything into the facility, especially out of visual equipment, the lighting of the Apple security measure of the facility. Check supplies and participating material of the debate and forward with the checklist for Charlotte supply flip chart for the mark of the tape with the name of the badge, drawing supply with the need of the review of the participant package. Check all that they have with appropriate material to complete the packet with the other resource to be delivered. Check those to determine that they will be made available to the participant. Resource for the table, the computer access, etc. Meet the facility and then speak with the meet the facility and then speak with to make sure that everyone understands the rule for the schedule for the ultimate goal for the day for the load. All speaker representation, single laptop with the prevent pausing between speaker to make sure that the recorder with the understand with the type of the notes you take with the sign with the responsible organizing collecting the chart paper at the end of the event. On the day of the event, the verified local arrangement, check for the room with the audio lighting, seating arrangement with the table, the resource for the management, rearrange sighting with the other elements necessary to determine the effect of the room layout with the presentation of the breakout with the group, and sometimes additional room with the design with the breakout room with the single room. Allows a larger group of the connected with the noise is too not great and is connected if the noise is not too great. Check on the food, but it may be part of the whole room. Logistics. Choose a single desk, the participating sign-up sheet with the name, the agendas, participating notebooks, participant mugs, and down temperature point, readiness, superintendent welcome, Charlotte participators at the set of the state of the critical parts as well with global environmental issues. Site stage for the opening session for the describe of the project for the travel expectation within the opening session. Make sure for the goals for the expectation of events for the clear for the participant. Welcome to the laptop level of the project team member. Then endorsing the Charlotte with the change sharing project. Goals are extremely helpful to establish for the rules for the travel. The ground rules allow for the groups to maintain focus for the encourage for the few flow of ideas. Example of the ground rules and code. No criticism of idea of the people ideas of no criticism of ideas or people. Respect everyone's time. All ideas are good. Everyone participates. Final decision consensus based. No cell phones or other conversations at the time. Arrange a site visit with the applicable. The site visit allows the Charlotte participants to understand the site opportunity challenge if they would be taken into with the alternative developer during the Charlotte. Create effective breakout group during the Charlotte. The test practices include with its design facilities ensure the effect of the breakout groups all out with the group to interact during the working session. The cross pollination is sort of the new idea of the breakout groups are the most effective. There are 6 to 8 members in the group. However, the 3 to 10 can be effective. Implementing successful Charlotte for action for the allow plenty of time reporting the decision. Various ideas allowing the clear, concise, rapid next steps. Especially helpful for the last type of the thoughts with ideas forming with the top level of the member to catalog with the group for their and Charlotte projects. And more pictures. To most effectively efficient follow-up, the Charlotte include the following activities. Within a month of the following, held the debriefing meeting with a minimum. The Charlotte Steering Committee should hold the briefing meeting. Discover the next steps after the feedback with the evaluation form of the schedule. Further feedback with the update for the discuss. Prepare a report over the result of the media with the short 1 to 2 page executive summary with the photo of the excellent good tool. The spread of the word about the Charlotte tool for the process for the top priority issues. Goals during the Charlotte. In addition, long Charlotte with the 25 to 35 pages could describe the action with the team member, the vision of the Christchurch Charlotte. Both reports are extremely useful for the longer term use. The follow-up, the participation provides participants for the follow-up reports, especially executive summary, then thank them for the participation. Let the participants know how they can stay involved. Encourage the participants to stay involved. Some of the participants will no doubt with the champions, particularly with the goals, should be involved with the minimum when the goals are met with the would-be and beneficial for the steering committee to discover the encourage the connection, long-term, and interaction between Charlotte participants, in-person meetings, website, newsletters, etc., analyzing summary events for the feedback, critical or ongoing environment improvement, and reviewing elevation forms of the give of the Charlotte with the analyzed feedback of the follow-up of the calls. Emails may be useful as well. Evaluate the value of the follow-up event and with a certain project issue for the strategy of the partnership, the idea of the generated during the Charlotte with the may work warrant the following events. Many Charlottes for the group material with the energy modeling, daylight strategies, and water reduction considerations. High priority issue to determine the value of the follow of the efforts. Application most effective approach of planning with the understanding potential outcomes of Charlotte. A view of the reports of the diverse Charlottes for the following Charlotte's reports. Appendix J handbook planning conducting Charlotte for the high project performance. We have Boston, UNC, Queens, NCSU, and Simon Fraser University cities. These are three other Charlottes listed below. Emerging issue with several interesting emerging trends in the ID Charlottes. First sponsor expand with the scope of the term and the topics of the address of the stakeholder participant with the Charlotte might explore with the greater depth of the topic, the history of the term and the fabric of the surrounding community, the hydrogeology, the natural history of the area with which the local community representative is participating. Second, other Charlottes of the address for the building, beyond building, for example, the National Park Services of the U.S. military for the May University campus building Charlotte, as well as planning for the entire park with the base installation, University campus operation relating to sustainability. Finally, many project teams are recognizably Charlotte should be with the ongoing profit on-time events. And then it shows the additional sources and publications, organizations and publications. Alright, part 4, case study of 1 and 2 Potomac Yard. General information, 1 and 2 Potomac Yard represent for the first green with a new spec for the office building of the project with the Washington, D.C. area. The project area that is located formerly abandoned of the rail yard, Arlington, Virginia, with a urban setting with two 12-level steel, two 12-story buildings of 654,000 square feet. Consider the office and the retail space as well with the fitness center for the building occupants of the 1 of 2 Potomac Yards enter within leadership and energy, environmental design, and green building rating system with the new commercial construction certification. Construction building began in 2004, was completed in May of 2006 with the economic complexity of the project with the Crescent Resort for the limited liability company for the developers set out with the team with the experience, professional developer design with the first-class building, early on with involved with the environmental building consultant with the commission authority to educate, design team with about the sustainable design and provide assistance for the potential leadership and energy to environmental design items throughout the delivery process with the forthcoming information for the help foster with a cooperative relationship with the leaser, U.S. General Services Administration lead time with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency with a review of the project as a result of the 1 or 2 Potomac Yard exemplify the balance of the function, cost, security, and sustainability. Overall project goals and philosophy is first place for the Potomac Yard, which significantly gates Ronald Reagan National Airport with the nearby Washington, D.C. with the developers 1 or 2 Potomac Yards wanted to set the right tone with the future development of the Potomac Yard. They aim to create an architectural distinct firecraft, high-quality, sustainable design with a inviting, dignified professional engineering, imaging, reflecting value of the federal government intended for the weather, applying in order to accomplish the goal of the project team, stakeholder, the GSA, and the EPA had to work together with the multiple issues, including balancing Arlington County requirements of accessibility, opening this active street fronts within the urban design guidelines, GSA requirements to secure the developers' design, keep control costs. Secure and safe site goal. While the project was approved and developed in August 2001, the terrorist attack of September 11, 2001 brought security requirements to the forefront. Project team responded with the revising of the design with the new federal procurement and protective service requirements and level 4 security. Sustainable goal. The lease award with the GCA in 2004, new sustainable criteria such as the LED civil certification, Energy Star certification were required for the project. All the developers pay for the penalty of the equal 10% of the annual rental payment to the GCA EPA with the lease spaces. The developer was beyond with the minimum requirements to achieve the LED gold NC certification for 1 and 2 Potomac Yards. Functional goal, speculative off of the building, creative functional acceptable work environments with a reliable technology infrastructure that easily accommodates spatial organizational change with a very important trust energy security issue with emergency generator with it installed to provide power with only critical systems such as case for the blackout and the brownouts for the disruption electrical service achieve the goal of the accessible goals will comply with local, state, federal requirements, American Disability Act, and the Architectural Barriers Act. Aesthetic goal of the developer wanted to create architectural distinctivity, high quality, sustainable building that would provide an inviting, dignified, with a professional image for the reflecting value of the federal government tenants that were appealing to it. Cost-effective goal of the developer made additional investments to comply with the same case issue with the GCA, EPA, and requirements, solve the potential making of the value of the operational savings of the creating sustainable, high-quality, durable buildings. High historical preservation goal of the non-applicable productivity goal of the creative effect of the work environment of the GSA, EPA with the developers placed importance of the designing healthy and thermally, visually, with the acoustically conformed spaces required metrics, including complying with the aspect of the ASHRAE 62 1999 ventilation acceptable indoor air quality addendum 2001 development of the IAQ in management system, the VOC content product complying with the ASHRAE 55 1992 addendum 1995 with the thermal comfort, insulation, permanent temperature, humidity monitoring system configured with the provide operators control with the over thermal control with including humidification, daylighting, maximized stepping, offices black with the exterior windows, creating opening plan spaces of the space walls, design flexibility, arrangement, infrastructure, connectivity, other significant aspects of the project. Or the process overview of the process of the 1 and 2 Potomac Yards, completely complex mixed view of the project required with extensive coordination, cooperation among the stakeholders, develop the critical resources, limited liability, design with the consulting team, with the contractor, leasers of the GSA, and primary tenant EPA, local government, and Arlington County throughout the development process. The use of the integrated with the team and approach it was possible to establish common goals, reconcile various and sometimes conflicting requirements of the GSA, EPA, USG, BC, LEED certification, Federal Protective Services for Security, Arlington County, ensure the buildings operate with the optionality through the lives after construction the building commission with the permanent monitoring system installed with the operation maintenance requirements defined and in post occupancy activities identified prior to the occupancy. Pre-design and planning activities, Crescent Resource Limited Liability Company, developers selected with the Potomac Yard and planned with the railroad yard because of the certification location. Arlington County approximately served with existing infrastructure that included public transportation utility. This decision fits well with one of the Crescent Resource of the corporate goals of the caring of the environment through the communities that serve. The furthermore, Crescent Resource agreed to comply with Arlington County phase development site plan conditions to have the project certified with the USG BC LEED rating system, with the former beginning with the 1 and 2 Potomac Yard plan with a sustainable building. Also, the first development on the site with the Crescent Resource wanted to have the positive tone of the Potomac Yard, creating the first class of high quality, distinctive buildings which could reinforce Potomac Yard Crystal City position in the Gateway's national capital. However, the abandoned railroad yard, there were a lot of concern with environmental risks associated with the contamination. In fact, Jack Kennett Cook retracted with his plan with a new Redskin Stadium at the Potomac Yard site in 1992. He stigmatized development by announcing overwhelming environmental problem that keep the building stadium. Concerns were migrated prior to the acquisition. Crescent Resources confirmed the EPA oversaw the remediation of the site, verified no further action, and letters issued EPA Virgin Department of Environmental Quality. The GSA awarded the Crescent because of the Potomac Yard with a solicitation order requirements for the state of the lease space shall be located primary commercial of the district, attractive for the prestige, professional surrounding of the prevalence of modern designing and or tasteful rehabilitation of modern use. Designing during the pre-design stage of the Crescent Reach of the degree of the comply with the Arlington County phase development site plan condition with the design guidelines, initially 1 to 2 Potomac Yard with the requirements of the 17 credit. During these early stages of the delivery sources process, the Arlington County Board Chairperson recognized the complexity of the site plan building permit process signed with the Assistant County Manager to oversee the Potomac Yard development process. The Assistant County Manager held monthly meetings with the bringing together the various county departments and developer team to review the issue and challenges of the facing of the projects. Designing activity, the responding complexity of the project, the credit estimate, research of the set out with the team, and the experience with the professional developed design for the first of the class building. Early on, the response solicitation for offer put out by the EPA involved the environmental building consultant with the educated the design team, sustainable design, provide assistance for the LEED items. Building Commission Authority was hired to guide with the team, the both design construction stage commission for the big process to begin with the other development performance and requirements of the building system equipment of also the Crescent Rest to procure for the pre-construction service of the constructor contract, provide with the input of the system, design, pricing, construction, ability, and the timing. Engaging with the integrated design process for the design team completed with the design 1 and 2 Potomac Yard of the Yard in August 2001 based on the new urban center of the principal of the game of the Arlington County approval of the project soon thereafter. The terrorist attack of the 7th Terminal 11 of 2001 led to the new security requirements of GSA leases that conflicted with the Arlington County's new urbanism. For example, the new urbanism promotes the multiple pedestrian vehicular access for the points of the building and destination, but post September 11, the security requirements and limited to the control of the access point of the street level of retail with the activity controlled, conflicted, may be limited to the street access of the building. Moreover, the Arlington urban design guidelines require the active streetscape, no setbacks. New security guidelines require setbacks 50 to 100 feet, but to meet the security requirements of the Botanic Yard leave the GCA, major changes had to be designed. In addition to the security revisions had at least over the U.S. General Services Administration, May 2004, major changes made with the design accommodated GSA's new requirements of the sustainability, which were more stringent with the development of the original plan. With these include with the minimum LEED silver certification instead of LEED certifiable projects, indoor air quality testing, limiting liabilities, volatile organic compounds, building material, the building energy costs over the 20% Energy Star building label with recycled content products, including, according to the EPA Comprehensive Procurement Guideline, construction waste management standards, performance heating, ventilation, air conditioning system, bicycle storage, and changing them in the shower facility, recycling rooms. Retrofitting of the project with the LEED requirements for the obtaining the zoning approval of the Arlington County complicated with the project design process. However, the readily disclosing information involved with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, lead tenant of the buildings of the GSA, discussion with the design of the contractor to the reinitiate the design stage. All parties were able to cooperate with work together to achieve their respective goals. Project team learned that the project goals, including LEED certification, should be set with the project inception. Exception of the team should have the frequent coordination meeting with the starting earlier with the process, including the meeting shows the specific LEED security. The team should begin with the document LEED strategy early on. Example, the collaborative design solution for the installation of plasma television behind the working windows facing out with the first floor conference with the room with the 1 Potomac Yard with the living with the streetscape with the provide with the interior meeting space with the need of the EPA and reinforcement of all site furniture which serve with both furniture and bollards to provide across access control of the perimeter protection. Relating to functionality, workspace for the productivity as well as the energy security of the emergency generator was installed with the 1-2 Potomac Yard with the emergency backup, then came with the Black House, Brown House, the other distribution electrical service. The generators have the capacity to provide power to all critical systems, alarm systems, CCTV, monitoring device detection system, early control device, emergency and security lighting system, computer data centers. Commissioning authority, the CXA was engaged in the process of the project process that required with the solicitation of offers for the commission authority with the design state commission plan with the developers to substantiate submission package 1 with the project award with the current Crescent research for the design state commission plan was fleshed out through the design stage re-release final form of the construction stage commission plan with the design stage commission plans focused on assuring the owner's performance requirements with incorporated properly with integrated with the prepared except for the construction document for the details of the system test of the procedures, assembly specific checklist and testing the documentation responsibly incorporated with the construction stage commission plan as well as the project construction specifications. As part of the requirements of LEED credit EA3 with the additional commission with the commission authority was responsible for reviewing the design prior to the construction documents, review the construction documents of contractual documents. Construction activity. Because of the construction activities, contractors were involved with the project during the design stage of the transition to design construction mostly seamless. Beginning with the construction partner session with the major stakeholder of the construction contract with the primary subcontract for the communication protocols, ensure that everyone understood the goal of the project, help the build the cooperative with the construction for the work relationship along with the team member to the list of the project team did encounter the number of challenges during the construction stage. One of the lessons during the construction stage of the pursuit of the LEED certification fabrication addition adds time to the construction process. For example, the certain LED credits may be made material specification more complicated than the typical project. They cover the necessity more research, also require taking the time to educate subcontractors will include importance of the LED material of the installation requirements. For example, the IAQ requirements for carpet output might seem arbitrary with the carpet installer. However, the carpet air out affects the IAQ, accessing IAQ in testing drivers GSA acceptance of the building. Crescent resources learned of the selecting design team members of the subcontracting LED experience with essential to minimize the extra time to achieve the LED certification. Another challenge with during the stage enforcement with the implementation of LED requirements of subcontractors lacks the requirements because they do not understand the complexity of the interrelation with the LED requirement to resolve the quality control program of the frequently field with inspection and established to ensure the achievement of the LED requirements. Following one of the interesting challenges of the balance of the efficient construction practice with construction waste for recycling and requirements efficient with the construction operation depends on the keeping the site with the free with the debris with the better recycling the requirements. Maintaining sorting pile of the waste material with the project team learned over the dumpster management and technique for the meat recycling goals to minimize the disruption of the construction process caused waste hauling. Our commissioning, the major commissioning activity during the construction of the construction commission authority worked with the contractor to test witness acceptable system and equipment to ensure the installation system and equipment meet the developer's performance requirement. The commission authority reviewed the submittal of the system as being commissioned. Commission authority also oversaw the operation and maintenance staff with the critical and proper operation and maintenance of the building. Crescent Research also executed the contract with the commission authority with the review of the building operation proceed with the performance of the operation and maintenance staff 1 year after the construction of completion. Operation maintenance activities. Operation maintenance activity stage just began with the 1 and 2 Potomac anticipating operation maintenance stage projects of the greenhouse keeping of the developer to ensure the housekeeping project practices would not adversely affect the level of sustainability initially achieved with the building with the greenhouse keeping with a detailed focus such items, cleaning products, and the using isolation requirements for construction nearly occupied space. Also, using an education program includes signs to develop the inform of the building occupant to visitors sustainable features of the building and how to use them properly. Integrated into the environmental control system, the permanent temperature, the humidity monitoring system, the permanent carbon dioxide monitoring system. These systems provide the team operational maintenance staff with the operational adjustment had been made to ensure the indoor environmental quality conform to the building occupants. Post-documents evaluation activity, the EPA requirements of metering equipment was installed with the following end uses, and including lighting system control of the motor loads operation, building fed-related process equipment, engineering system and equipment water service system, 1 Potomac Yard. This will follow the EPA general monitoring building performance so that they can work with the operation maintenance staff to optimize the energy, water consumption performance of the building. Information tools show the energy simulation software of the eQuest 2.55 product systems. Functional security, sustainability costs for the driver to make with the material of the system decision 1 and 2 Potomac Yard in addition for the LED requirements for the EPA specific requirements had to appear to. Examples specifically EPA requirements include purchase of the recycled content products designated with the comprehensive procurement guidelines, use of environmental preferred products raw material with economically feasible, reduce the application pesticides, fungicide, rodenticides, alternative vinyl products when possible, comply volatile organic compounds standard listed within solution of the solicitation offers for the material with adhesive steel and caulk, painting coats, carpet system, wood products, ensure the procurement of the products required green characteristics of the environmental building, consult with the develop of the green specification and language, involve the construction specification drawings as appropriate to the environmental building, consult with the ASO work for the tenant team to ensure the interior specification comply with the EPA LEED requirements and another level of oversight with the provided through the review of the project submittals, both developer team and leaser and lead tenant. In addition, with each of the building dedicated with the recycling approximately 500 square feet of the loading dock with a collection of the separation paper, corrugated cardboard, glass, plastic metals, reduce the waste generated with the building occupants to the disposal of the landfills. Careful selection and specification procurement and with the quality control environmental preferably products result in the following 27% of the material recycled content value post cost to consumer content process half of the post to the industrial content with the percentage total cost of all the materials. 63% of the material manufactured regionally with a 500-mile radius. 61% regionally manufactured materials were extracted regionally. 83% of the wood-based materials were product of the FSC certified related function, durability, workplace productivity, modular furniture system using office space for the chosen for the ease of the assembly of the disassembly facility, reusability, reduce churn costs additional carpet and tile interface with the recycled manufacturer into new carpet tiles. Energy issues. Energy for the description. In order to reduce the energy-related impact of the 1 and 2 Potomac Yard, the Crescent Research engaged the experienced design team to design these energy-efficient buildings. The developer also engaged an independent with the commission agent for the nature of the energy using system-aware design and solve the function test for the capable of the operation maintenance according to the owner's need. Achieve the energy cost saving of the 20% of the ASHR EA 90.1 1999 is required by the EPA with its design 1 and 2 Potomac Yard. Incorporate the following lighting power density that falls between 0.74 and 0.9 watts per square foot. High performance window entry system, maximum thermal productivity, performance, reduce solar gain, minimize air leaks, and control water infiltration, light colored material with maximize the effective daylight, reduce the energy use of the heat gain with the artificial light source of the building management and control system, monitoring carbon dioxide, humidity, temperature for the control air movement with the temperature, high efficiency, HVAC system, more over the HVAC and refrigeration, equipment of fire suppression, system 1 over the 2 Potomac are free of the ozone depleting substances of the HC, FC, and halon, and due to the EPA requirements continuously material equipment, industrial various end users, including lighting system control of the motor loads, HVAC system loads, operation building related process of the energy system, the equipment of the water service to the 1 Potomac Yard only. EPA has also agreed to purchase grid source green power other both buildings 1 full year of or 50% of the green power cost to the 2 years. Energy modeling result of the EQuest 2.55 indicate the following saving of the ASH RAE 1990.1 1999 23.5 is 1 Potomac Yard, 20.7 on the 2 Potomac Yard. Also, the Energy Star, the scores for the Energy Star target finder tool of the 1 and 2 Potomac Yards are 82 and 83, 85 and 82, respectively. Handles energy user freezer with electricity at 4,555,000 kilowatts an hour. Gas, not applicable fuel oil, not applicable biomass, not applicable other fuel. Totally 4,551 kilowatts an hour. Energy, annual energy by end use 888,000 kilowatts an hour. Cooling 1,168 kilowatt fan pumps with 813,000 kilowatt lighting. 1,530 domestic hot water, 153,000 kilowatt plus loads equivalent non-applicable on an annual on-site renewable generator and PV, non-applicable solar, thermal, non-applicable wind, non-applicable microhard, non-applicable biomass electricity, non-applicable biomass thermal, not either renewable, non-applicable total. Peak use of peak electricity limited to 1,427 kilowatts in the summer, 3,667 kilowatts in the winter. Peak neutral gas demand, non-applicable cooling load, 900 total heating load, 10,455 BTUs an hour connected with a lighting load of 471 kilowatts. Data source reliability based on simulation, yes. EQuest 255 based on utility bills, not applicable. Content and data source reliability, pre-construction simulation, energy model production, subject, actual operation. Indoor environment approach 1 of 2 Potomac Yard construction for the emphasis to provide high quality interior environmental solid with the start during the design stage for the prior specification low emitting material design ventilation monitoring equipment during the construction stage with the development and implementation of the IQ management plan during pre-occupancy stage the IQ test plan and then finally with the occupancy stage implementation greenhouse keeping plan. Project results, lesson learned, success went over the 2 project area with the result of the cooperation, teamwork with the between the developer, the Crescent Roll, with the contract with the consultant, with the lead for the GSEA, with the tenant EPA, and local government of the Arlington County. Once led with the tenant, with identified with the critical will come together to work toward the common goals, including sustainable minimal LEED silver rating, secure with the resolve of the 2 distinct with the quality high performance LEED gold non-NC with 1 and 2 Potomac Yard, secure with the accessible office building, and severe with the model of the present and future development of the Potomac Yard site. Following some of the lessons learned of the project team and overcoming the challenges of the creating 1 or 2 Potomac Yard, particularly for the LED process certification. Various stakeholders, the USG, BC, EPA, Federal Protective Service, the Arlington County, etc., have the conflicting requirements to overcome the project, learning with a realistic success of the requirements of the draft of the requirements accordingly. Executing a successful project work requires teamwork. At one time, Potomac Yard readily disclosing information created with a possibility of cooperative productive relationship between the developer, GSA and EPA. This allowed them to resolve the issue of the collecting effectively. Pursuing sustainability LEED certification require the careful planning with the goal of the project. With the LEED certification should be set for the project inception, but the team should have frequent coordination meetings starting earlier in the process. The team should begin documenting LEED the strategy early on, otherwise agreeing with the project retrofitting of the project with the incorporated LEED security of the requirements for the obtaining of the zone approval for the Arlington County unduly complicated process. Pursuing LEED certification added for the time of the construction profit agree with the design energy fee that one of the two Potomac Yard LEED related design costs were about 33% of the corresponding LEED rated construction costs. Design costs are typically 3 to 4% of the construction costs. Enforcement and implementation requirements of including LEED during the construction is difficult. The Crescent Research learned of the quality control of the program, including the frequent field inspection, critical of successful implementation project requirements. Embracing complexity, urban mixture of the project will mitigate the objective of the more variable equation. Some of the variable of random. The complexity cannot be controlled or due to the embracing complexity allowed the project team and temper the rational decision making without getting frustrated and lack of resolution. You have ratings: US EPA Energy Star Building Label, USA Green Council LEED, NC Groundworking Awards, Northern Virginia Chapter National Association Industrial Opportunities Office of Building Environmental Responsibility Green Construction Award Merit, Arlington Economic Development Commission, Arlington Chamber of Commerce Green AB's Award, and GSA Leasing Project of the Year Award. Publishing the Department of Energy Online Building Catalog Case Study on High Performance Buildings. And that completes the that moves us on to the integrated design process test, and I'm going to cut the tape there.